Hello friends, welcome to the channel. If today is your first time visiting with us, we want to extend you a very warm welcome. If you have been here before but you have not subscribed, please subscribe. If today is your birthday, we want to wish you a happy birthday. So we are going to remove all our weights that were holding the tabletop off, and then we're going to release the clamps, or even release the clamps first, I don't know.
Release the cracking.
Release the cracking. Do you want to release the clamps? This is riveting cinematography. And here's our tabletop. We are going to take it out in the garage. We already have started the heater, and we are going to cut it in the correct length right now. Okay, we're in our garage and in our shop, and we have put the tabletop on support so we can cut it. We're first going to straighten this edge here with our track saw, and this time we include the what you call it? Oh, I'm not sure. Okay, stop for a minute. All right, ready? Great edge. Parallel with our board. Excellent. And now we have to move to the other side, and we have a little more cutting to do in that side. And we need to measure, right? Feet, right?
That's 5.
Oh, it's 70, I forgot. This is 6 feet, but we're supposed to be at, what is our length?
6 feet is 72 inches. We just need to take some off of this end. So
Okay.
It's going to be just shy of 6. I think it's going to be like, feel the underneath, you know?
I can feel the underneath.
Yeah, so it's going to be close. Make sure it's square. Is that square? Is it square on that side?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it doesn't quite square up here.
Well, because this is protruding a
Okay.
little. Let's move it up a bit. They're really not supposed to, so I don't know why it is. There, it's square.
Okay.
But it is not on the roof. Okay? Are you recording or what?
Yes, I'm recording, but I do, yeah, we need to move it back a little bit. We're way too close to the edge here. So can we move it back a little bit first, please? We have to see the wood.
Yeah.
We're not seeing it. Okay, now let's make sure it's square before you clamp it. Okay, is that square? Which way do I need to move it?
I want to say that way.
Too much?
Okay, yes, it's too much. You keep knocking this one back. You need to remove that clamp. You need to come down. We have plenty, so we have to see at least a little bit of this wood.
And that one's square.
Okay.
Do you want another clamp on your part?
No, I only put the clamp because this is so much out that the weight of this.
Well, I just know that when you did
The last one, it wiggled a little bit, so.
Okay, you can stop for a moment. We need to find a way to suspend that this one on the track. Yeah. All right, folks, and we now have another edge. Perfect. Yep. Like maybe an eighth off, but that's nothing on the project this time. Excellent. Good. So we're now prepping for the initial sanding, and we're going to start with a coarse 60 grit paper to knock out any high spots or anything like that. And we're going to use 2 sanders just to speed up the operation. You probably have to plug up in the back. So this is the next step in the saga of the table. We also have a vacuum on to take fine particulates of the air.
Okay, so we have the boards that we bought were not furniture grade boards. We bought them as end pieces off construction grade, and so in putting the desktop together, we ended up with some gaps, as you can see here and here, a couple of other places. And the way we're going to fix that is to use sawdust from the shop and glue to fill in the spaces. and fill in those gaps. So we'll get started on that and show you. So we have two varieties of wood chips. The ones in the bag that we're getting out right now are thicker, bigger pieces, which we're going to use to fill the gap, this big hole and the big gap here. And then we have some that are much more fine, almost to just a dust instead of just saw chips, that we'll use to fill in the finer holes like this one. And then we're going to get started by adding some glue to the cup. Giving it a good mix to get everything all kind of homogenized with the mixture there.
One more glue. You want it like grits, honey.
You want it like what?
Grits.
Grits.
I was thinking coconut frosting, but okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coconut frosting.
For those of you who might be bakers out there, it's the consistency of coconut frosting. So it's got quite a bit of glue going on in there, so it's a very wet mixture. But you can still see the pieces of sawdust, which are, in this case, pretty similar to a coconut.
Wood filler? No.
Coconut, shaved coconut. Shredded coconut, that's the correct term.
Now, why we're not using wood filler? This will be too big, and the wood filler, when it dries, it will probably pop out, right? That was a rhetorical question. I was asking
for the viewers,
Yeah.
asking for the viewers. So why aren't we using wood filler? Because
well, wood filler on this will come out.
right.
On something like this, we might end up using wood filler because it's just too thin, you know. On this, we're going to use the same system, but we're going to use much finer, the much finer dust.
Okay, so that's a little bit of change of what I said, but you're still getting the idea of what we're doing.
And all I'm doing here is just compacting it. Probably should clean it before I do it again. I think it's reasonably fat.
It is reasonably fat.
It's reasonably flat.
Reasonably so.
Yeah.
Still need.
You can't get it
Sanding,
completely,
but-
but
Well, yeah, it will need sanding, but it won't be a hole. All right.
which is the goal here.
But you want to throw this away and remix, or you want a new cup to mix the finer?
I don't know if I can get all this out.
Now we switch to a finer dust, and that's why I keep the dust that we generate for projects like this. And we are going to create a new plug material for these areas. Now the really small cracks, we will probably use wood filler and we'll just inject it. Now we could have bought furniture grade lumber, but this would not have been a $150 project, it would have been a $300 or $400 project, right? So if you're a furniture maker and you're cringing right now, yes, we understand. We are showing people how you can do something that looks really good and at the same time it is still affordable. In fact, if we were to make the legs for this table ourselves with wood, Mrs. Wizard wanted metal legs, and again I don't have the metalworking skills to do that yet, but if we were to use wood legs, this would be a project that was under $50 in cost. To put it in perspective, right? But with better wood, okay.
So again, we're using the finer sawdust to fill in these cracks because they are smaller.
It is like drywall patio.
You know that's my favorite.
You know,
Drywall
I love it, right?
You both just love doing drywall, huh?
We do. And again, this is a process that looks worse before it becomes better, right? Sorry.
For any of you who have done drywall, this process is pretty similar. You're filling in the crack and you're scraping over it, so you will have overfill that has to be sanded down.
And for those of you that have ever done tiling, this is like putting grout on tile. It makes it look horrible in the beginning, right?
But then once it sets a little bit, you go back and you clean it up. And
Now in all these colors, this is the first time I've done this, so we'll see, right? If you want to... No, I mean if you want to work on it. What do you think of this? Do you think that is fine enough?
so we're going to work on this process, and we'll come back when it's finished up, and we'll show you what it looks like. Okay, we're checking in, and this is one of the cracks. We've been working on filling here.
And as you can see, it's going away, right?
The crack is filled, and you can see the debris on either side where we filled that. If the camera would focus, there we go.
Now, if you were to paint this instead of staining, you could use Bondo or some other material. You wouldn't have to do that. We are doing that because we plan to stain this, and we...
Right, and we want this to be able to stain and look good.
And Bondo or anything else. Wood filler would work in the small ones, but we are trying to see if we can make it work with this method.
Okay, so we have completed filling in all the little crevices. You can see the glue residue on either side of the boards pretty clearly here in the frame. But again, once everything dries, we're going to go back over that and sand it out again to get everything smooth. This is the knot that was pretty significant. We've got that filled in, waiting for that to dry. So now it's just given all this time to dry, and then we'll come back and work on sanding. So this is a natural knot in the wood that has a void around it. And in order to maintain the smoothness of the desktop, we're going to fill it with some clear epoxy resin. And
Plus, we want to keep it for character. We don't want to fill it.
Correct.
So we're going to mix our epoxy and then fill it. And hopefully the epoxy is transparent as it says, right?
Hopefully.
So it will disappear.
Okay, so please be sure to use gloves because epoxy is a very irritating substance.
And you need approximately a 50-50. Most epoxies are like that.
A 50-50 mix. The instructions for this say equal parts on there. Mix it for 1 minute to get it thoroughly mixed together, and then apply it to your surface.
Now there are some epoxies that come in a tube, in 2 tubes that end up in a syringe end, so it auto measures. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But this is the cheap epoxy. This is not the expensive kind of epoxy. This is when spending time in the kitchen helps, because you're supposed to fold it, and a minute we didn't keep time. If it starts getting tacky, it's probably...
We're high class here, no tacky.
Well, it's not that. I think you're getting close to where you need to be. The question is, did we mix enough? All right, put it
I
in.
mixed equal parts.
No, I mean enough to fill the hole.
I understand, but just below surface, so I'll probably need a little more. Came close though.
If you need to mix some more, mix some more. It's only good.
And here we are, filling it with a little bit more just to get it even with the surface.
Okay, when it dries, it should dry clear. It's a little milky now, right?
Yeah. And then of course that will be sanded and polished down and then covered the same as the rest of the desk. So again, here's what we're looking at with the desk. And we've got some dry time.
Enough time has passed, we think, and we're going to start first by scraping most of the residue away, and then we're going to do a final sanding.
That really hurts my ears.
I'm sorry. If you want to use that, you can take the
Ah,
it's hanging in front. Just take the majority of it, the things off. Okay? Where have I not sprayed? Here.
that's
That is
not
not
dry.
right.
okay, and right now we are continuing with the sanding.
But our planer does not fit that. That's what we need, a planer this size.
And as you can see, the glue is coming off fairly well here during this process. Okay, and here we are getting ready to do the final sanding with a 220 grit. This is the desktop so far.
Now we're happy with the way it turned out? Look at the knot, I think that looks pretty good.
It does, and of course it'll clear up when the epoxy goes on there.
The box is
I mean the clear coat. So it'll look better.
well, So for our final sanding, we're using 220 grit up above the 60 that we did for our wrap sanding. And you can go into a finer grit. I think that's a good enough grit, don't you think? Because we are sanding, as you can see, our air quality has gone above the green for the first time we've recorded it, correct? So we're at the 63 AQI, and that shows you what sanding does to your environment. And for those of you that you are interested, you can see the air quality during sanding. And again, this is the worst we have recorded in our shop. I find this an intriguing demonstration of why you need to wear a mask when you do sanding. Alright friends, and we're going to round over all around our table to make it look a little softer and take this sharp edge away. So stick around and we're going to do this process next. I think since that's the end, I think let's do that. Right, so let's go do that. I think I moved that a little down.
Many apologies for all the sound. Apparently the microphone came off and was dragging.
Is that there counterclockwise?
What?
Is that direction counterclockwise?
That's clockwise.
You can't leave this edge like that.
Well, I don't want to take this off. That's what
I know, but you can't leave that like that.
Alright folks, and now another sanding on the edges. Take these router marks off and we'll be ready for staining.
Okay, right now we're doing a quick cleanup in order to get all the sawdust off the tabletop now that we've done the finished sanding.
And you can use a tack cloth here. I don't have a tack cloth on the saw, but using the vacuum achieves the same result that the tack cloth would, right? A testament to our heater. The house is actually colder than the garage.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show you that even with fairly inexpensive wood, you can achieve some pretty phenomenal results when you're putting boards together. And you can see here as well, let's go on a board like this. This has almost disappeared. There is a seam here, right? Can you see it? Mm-hmm. Now, we weren't able to do that throughout the table, and that's okay for us because we like character in the wood. We like to know, for people to know this is a handmade. This is not something we went and bought in a store. But overall, we are very pleased with the results so far, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. We already stained the piece, so some of you might like this look. I do, but we want to match the decor we already have in that room, which is a darker bed, what's it called, headrest? Headboard. So we're going to go with the darker stain, and we hope we're going to like the dark one as much as we like this, and I'm confident we will. So here we start our staining process. Okay, the staining begins. Heavier? You like that?
I like
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good.
it. You see the grain, it's dark enough, but it's not overwhelmingly dark where you can't see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so gonna go ahead with the staining and then we'll come back and show you when it's done.
Alright friends, and this is our stain table, and it has an amazing amount of character, I think. What do you think, Elvira?
I like it.
Because that's far away, so probably I don't know if people can hear me or not. But we're going to give it a little time to dry, and then we plan to finish it with a poly coat to protect it. And we'll get back with you shortly. I hope you're enjoying it so far. And you can see some of the unique character. I mean, this is awesome. Right? Mm-hmm. And this is really cool. And this is, I think, partly some of the coolest.
It almost looks like the galaxy, the sun in the middle
Yeah.
with all the.
And here, I mean, you can see that this edge disappeared. This was the blue board. I mean, that's the only thing I'm sad about. That was the very blue board. But still, it stained very nicely. It's just that we lost that blue hue that it had, right?
Yeah.
Overall, and the edges are nice and soft.
And this is the live edge over here that we left intact.
Excellent. All right, and now we're ready to put the first coat of poly and see how it changes the look of our table. You like it?
Mm-hmm.
So here we are with the first coat just about finished. Just touching up the edges to make sure there are no drips. And so far we're really pleased with the outcome, what it looks like.
Today, as promised, is the reveal of the table we built to replace this old and outdated assembled furniture we had for our son that he has used for many years and really does not serve him anymore. So there's no need for us to show you taking this apart. We're going to take it apart and then we're going to show you the final table in its location. So stick around, we think that's very exciting. Hello friends, and we reached the end of our journey. As you can see, the table is in place and in space. It looks very nice. We were very pleased with how it came. And I hope you also enjoyed both the build and the final outcome. It makes the room look bigger and it also is more functional than the old desk. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did so, please smash that like button. Make sure that you subscribe and you also click on the bell notification to know whenever we have new episodes. Like and leave comments. We appreciate the support that you're giving in the channel, and let us know what you want to see in this channel. Again, remember, this is a table that we built using nothing but saw and has 0 joints. All the boards are just butted together and glued in a substrate. So this is our own design, and anyone can build this table, we feel. What do you guys think?
I think so.
And at low cost compared to what you can buy it.
Well, yes, actually, if we didn't want the metal legs, this whole this whole desk will be under $50.
But I've seen them online for as much as $700.
All right, yeah, I agree. But I mean, it only cost us over $100 because the legs were $99. If we had built the legs from wood, really would have been a $50 project. So it's very economical. And if I was to build it from wood, I would actually put black legs, right? So that it will probably look very much like what it looks now. No? Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for staying with us with this journey. This is the first multi-part project we built, so I don't know if there are going to be more to come. Watch for another video around Wednesday with some exciting something. We don't know what yet. And again, we hope you enjoy this episode, and you will come and visit us again next weekend with another fun project. From the Garage Wizard, Mrs. Wizard, Elpida, and the Urban Homesteading channel, we bid you a great week.